The UN Special Rapporteur for Myanmar has warned that there has been zero progress on the peace plan by ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which was hammered out following Myanmar's military coup in 2021. He also forecast that dire conditions in camps for Rohingya refugees may drive many to migrate by boat. Hundreds of thousands of Rohingya remain stuck in camps in Bangladesh with no good options.
Mohammed Noor fled Myanmar for Bangladesh 6 years ago, along with hundreds of thousands of other Rohingya Muslims. Now he and his family live as refugees, unable to return home, their future in limbo.
Our living space became tiny here. The World Food Program has reduced our daily meals, so that's a problem for us. Our movement is restricted, and we face water and other shortages.
More than 1 million Rohingya Muslims live in these sprawling, overcrowded camps around Cox's Bazar. It's the largest refugee settlement in the world. Bangladesh has been trying to negotiate a repatriation program with Myanmar, but progress has stalled over demands to give Rohingyas citizen status. Myanmar's government still sees them as resident foreigners.
The Burmese government treats all ethnic groups equally, apart from Rohingya Muslims. They call us Bengali. They should recognize us as Rohingya. Like all others, they should include our names in the citizens list.
Many Rohingya are refusing to return while Myanmar still renders them stateless. Without the rights afforded to citizens, they say the long history of repression will only continue.
We will walk back to Myanmar if it gives us citizenship, as it gave to other ethnic groups. We will return willingly then. We don't want to stay in Bangladesh.
Bangladeshi authorities acknowledge the demand, but so far have found no solution.
The Rohingya refugees have raised the issue of their citizenship, their ancestral homes and lands. They want to go back there, but not to the newly built camp-like villages.
With Myanmar's military rulers appearing unwilling to compromise, repatriation efforts, like the refugees, remain stuck.
That report was put together by DW's Arafatul Islam. Arafatul, citizenship is a major issue for the refugees. Why have other minorities in Myanmar been able to obtain citizenship, and why has there been a reluctance to grant citizenship to the Rohingya?
The Rohingya Muslims are widely viewed in Myanmar as interlopers from Bangladesh, despite roots in the Buddhist majority country stretching back centuries. In 1982, Myanmar passed a citizenship law that institutionalized a social hierarchy of full citizens, associate citizens, naturalized citizens, and resident foreigners, complete with different colored identity cards for each status. Other ethnic groups rebelled but accepted the classification. The Rohingya challenged the system wholesale, according to the Washington Post.
Citizenship aside, isn't there concern among refugees that they'd return to Myanmar only to be terrorized by the military, who many human rights activists accuse of committing genocide?
Rohingya refugees think having citizenship in Myanmar will protect them from other issues you mentioned. They are focusing more on that demand. Some refugees I talked to also think they might need UN protection if they return to Myanmar. As you know, about 750,000 Rohingya fled from Myanmar in 2017 after a military crackdown the United Nations said was carried out with genocidal intent. Myanmar denies genocide, saying its security forces were engaged in a legitimate campaign against Rohingya insurgents. However, the country faces two separate lawsuits, one at the International Criminal Court and another at the International Court of Justice for the 2017 military campaign.
But it's unlikely Myanmar is likely to budge. What does that mean when you have a stateless population like the Rohingya?
Although the most significant Rohingya exodus from Myanmar took place in 2017, as you know, Bangladesh has been hosting refugees from the community ever since the 1970s. Most of the 1 million or so Rohingya in Bangladesh now live in 5 camps that cover an area equivalent to a third of Manhattan. Over 700,000 live in the world's largest and most densely populated refugee camp named Kutupalong in an area of just 13 square kilometers. Most of them live in shelters made of bamboo and plastic sheets, and they are not allowed to work and can only leave the camps with government's permission. Surging crime, harsh living conditions in the camps, and bleak prospects for returning to Myanmar are driving more Rohingya refugees to leave Bangladesh by boat for countries such as Malaysia and Indonesia, putting their lives at risk. UN data shows 348 Rohingya are thought to have died at sea last year.
Arafatul Islam, thank you for joining us.